Hey, Everest Live. It's May 19th. I'm here bundled up at base camp. It was really nice weather during the day. Now it's cold. Um, so today's news, big news, headlines, less summits as predicted than we saw yesterday and the day before. Um, Bartek, as unpredicted, sort of just quietly made his way up to the summit and skied from Everest all the way down. And tomorrow, we're looking at some pretty huge crowds on the mountain, and we have a very special guest with us here today as well. So let me get through the headlines so that then we can talk to our good friend, Uta Ibrahimi, who is here with us today. So what we've got going on the mountain, let's start with the summits. Today, as mentioned earlier, the weather was pretty good, and I think the numbers are still kind of hazy, but there was like 50 to 60 summits today, most of them early in the morning. Seems like it was a good day, good weather, and people got up and down safely. But like our team, our friends here at Arnold Coster Expeditions are making their way up to the summit tonight. We've had a lot of friends in the South Call. Yesterday we're at Camp 3, and there were some people. There was a number of reports that were saying there was up to 300 people in Camp 3 yesterday. Keep in mind that's not 300 people heading to the summit. That's a mix of people going up and coming down. But regardless, it seems that what happened was in the sort of, there's always this kind of chess game where you play to try to get to the summit with the minimum amount of crowds, but you kind of have to read the tea leaves as to what other expeditions are going up, what ones aren't, what day is going to be empty, what day is going to have good weather. And people sort of I think this year everybody thought the major crowds were going to be on the 17th, 18th. Today the weather wasn't supposed to be good, so everybody's going for the 20th. And so I think tomorrow we're going to see a pretty crowded situation on the mountain. And actually, I'm just going to introduce our special guest, Uta Ibrahimi, who just came down from the summit.
Yeah, I was in a good window, I think.
but
Not
what
too many people.
what did you see in terms of crowding up? Like, were you seeing this massive group of people heading up for tonight when you're on your way down?
No, actually, on the way up, we didn't see much people, and I
Yeah.
thought like we were very lucky. But then at the same time, it was super windy, so it's kind of you have to choose between being in a crowd and maybe having less good weather. Just coming back,
Yeah.
uh, we maybe waited like 40 minutes on the ridge.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it wasn't bad
because
at all.
no, I think it was good. Because I think many people also started the summit push later, and
Hmm.
we started around 9:30, 10.
Yeah.
So, and then people later on, maybe the wind dropped, so they started later. So that's why, like when we were coming down, we saw few groups going up. But in general, I I really enjoyed it, even though it was snowing and windy. I just felt it, okay, good. We know when you have the right clothes and the right uh, people to climb, so it's still possible to go even in a higher wind. Not
Yeah.
all of us has to wait for the perfect weather window because
Right.
not all the time you can have that.
How high were the winds when you were up there? Do you know?
I think maybe between, from what I feel it, I think 60 maybe
Oh,
to,
really?
yeah, 50 to 60,
Oh, wow.
especially on the ridge. It
And
was
that's
like some of the
kilometers per
moment,
hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the moments, like they were like, I felt like I'm gonna just, jump
Head
under
over
the,
into
yeah.
Tibet.
So the
Yeah.
the rope was really necessary, but yeah, it was good. And then reaching the summit, sometimes when the sun comes, the wind drops. So when we were at the summit around 5:40, it was sun and the wind started to drop. So then coming down was okay. So at
Yeah.
least half of the journey, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
And so anyway, so what we're going to start seeing tomorrow is, and there's been a lot of photos on social media. If you guys look through all the regular Everest accounts, there's a lot of photos of a long line of people heading up the mountain. Unfortunately, despite everyone's best efforts, despite this huge weather window, I do think tomorrow we're going to see a day where crowd control becomes a big factor. Let's quickly talk about my friend and yours, Bartek. Bartek Zwolinski, you guys, I've been like fanboying over Bartek this whole season. I think from like a mountaineering accomplishment standpoint, he is the story of the season. He was the first person to basically ski Lhotse top to bottom. The first descent of Lhotse with Hillary O'Neill and Hillary Nelson and Jim Morrison. They stopped at Camp 2. He skied from the top to the bottom, and he did it without oxygen and did it in a very humble style. I mean, he's just such a chill dude. I'm used to seeing mountaineers who are like really into themselves and who tend to like kind of overstate stuff, whereas I feel like he's quite the opposite.
Yeah, it's quite humble, and I've been sharing few expeditions with Bartek, and he has always been like, very humble, not social media, not wanting to talk about, and yeah, he's a great friend too, besides a great climber.
Yeah, he's a great person. And so again, in classic Bartek fashion, I sort of thought he was going to go up a little bit later, so on and so forth. He kind of didn't tell anyone, at least I didn't know, that he just sort of waltzed up to the summit quietly, all by himself, no oxygen, no Sherpa support. Got there at 9:20 in the morning this morning, turned around, put his skis on, skied back to camp.
To Kathmandu.
Yeah, almost to Kathmandu. One of the things that was interesting was, and if you look at our kind of Instagram post or our mini dispatch from today's, we were able to share some footage from my good friend Manish, who's been drone filming. He's with 14 Peaks Productions. The guy is incredible. So he filmed Bartek skiing from Camp 1 all the way down through the icefall.
I saw it. Yeah.
Super cool. But also, I mean, you and I were talking about this in the coffee shop, how even in like the 4 days since he climbed Lhotse, everything here has turned to dirt. Like the amount of melting that's happened on the mountain is incredible. So this expedition for him, not only is Everest higher, but the skiing conditions were much, much worse.
Yeah, I mean, like today while I was coming down from Camp 2, and I went up 4 days ago for the summit push. It just felt like I'm not walking on the same trail again.
Yeah.
It's like super melting, and the rivers, and like I always have this feeling that when the mountain starts to melt, for me it's time to go home, because like the mountain is telling us that this is it, now it's end of the season and the crevasses are getting bigger and it's more dangerous. So yeah, it's very strange how things can change in just 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And even base camp here now too, that people are coming back from the summit, like base camp's just changing. Like all these tents are getting packed up and disappearing. And like, it really does feel like very quickly the end of the season is on us, even though the summit season is only like 3 or 4 days old.
And it's kind of sad, because like we spend on expeditions, we normally spend like a month and a half to 2 months with people. And then from one moment they are our family. And then when everything is packing and melting, it feels like, oh, now I have to go back home to the other family,
Yeah.
When they are our family, and then when everything is packing and melting, it feels like, oh, now I have to go back home to the other family,
Yeah. It's kind of melancholy. It's a little sad, isn't it?
It is, like, especially when the expeditions are nice and when the summit is happening, because of course lots of people, they really want to have the summit. I mean, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's kind of the news. Like tomorrow is going to be probably a very exciting and somewhat chaotic day. I hope that there's a lot of crowd management, but I'm guessing tomorrow.
I hope there is a police on the ridge, because they can, because sometimes I get the feeling that people are not so considerate towards the other one, and like they just go and then block the way. I'm like, guys, can we just
work together here?
Work together, because it's better for everyone.
Yes.
But as I said, I was so lucky to have not so many people on the summit day. And like when I summited Everest in 2017 for the first time, I don't even remember that we talked about the crowd, because I mean, there were like the numbers were maybe double time less.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing tomorrow, and my guesses have proved accurate so far. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm guessing we're going to see 140 summits tomorrow. That's my guess. Arnold, what do you think?
You're probably right.
Arnold agrees with me. Let's see. Let's see what happens. But Uta, I want to, we have you as our special guest. We're going to like fill you in tomorrow on everything as it happens. If anything exciting happens, I'll be doing like kind of live little dispatches on Insta and on YouTube. So stay tuned. Keep us on your feed. But we have such a special guest here. And Uta, thanks for coming down. We've been wanting to talk to you this whole season. And finally, the stars have aligned. And so for our audiences, I'm going to give you a bit of an introduction. I'm going to talk about you for just a second. And then we can turn it over to our conversation. But so Uta has climbed all 14 8,000 meter peaks. She's the first woman from Kosovo to climb Everest, and then of course go on to do the 14 peaks. And Uta's also, you've sort of transitioned after that into a career in guiding, but you also have sort of a social mission where you're taking a lot of women into the mountains and you're trying to share sort of your experiences with the wider world in general. Is that a fair statement?
Yep. Thank you.
And so this trip, you were coming back with a group and you summited Everest for the second time.
Yeah.
And it seems like it went well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it went very well. My member, my friend, he is very happy, and of course, I'm very happy too. So today it's our first day after the summit in base camp. It feels like we're in the hotel. It feels so nice. And my member from Kosovo, my friend Petret, I mean, he has been doing hiking and mountaineering projects at home, but not such a big mountain. And so we worked together for like a year, training some mountains at home. And yeah, and I mean, for me as a first experience to be kind of guiding on 8,000s, I really enjoyed it, and I wish I can come back again.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, and how did it feel? Because, you know, last time you were here on Everest was 2017.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it was 9 years ago, and a lot has changed between now and then. How did it feel for you to come back?
It felt really great. You know, like for me, it felt like meeting everyone that I have met for the whole like 10 years expeditions on Himalayas. So meeting lots of Sherpa friends. It was like great to have a big family all together in one place.
Yeah.
When I look back in 2017, for me, it was like the second expedition in Nepal, but it was my first on 8,000s. So I didn't see much of it, you know, because also I did the rotations in Hinku Valley and Makalu region. So when I came here, we didn't want it to go up too much in the Kumbu. So it was kind of short, but then at the same time, I knew less people, of course. And so it was like, you know, like I didn't feel the same time I knew less people, of course. And so it was like, you know, like I didn't feel this happy than I felt this time. I mean, meeting everyone together and such a great people with a great energy and just enjoying.
Right on.
Yeah.
And so let's take a step back. I also want to kind of paint a picture of who you are, you know, for everyone. And I know you grew up in Kosovo during the war, and that was as for many people, like a traumatic way to be raised and to grow up. And did that experience for you inform your desire to go into the mountains at all? Is your climbing career in any way sort of tied to, you know, the experiences of your childhood?
I believe so. Like when the war happened in Kosovo, I was 14, 15. And I mean, the war lasted 3 months, but like we had for 10 years tension, which we weren't allowed to live the way how we wanted to live. Like when I was younger, I was a basketball player.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like a big dream to be a good on sports, because my parents, they weren't so much into sports, but like when my mom used to play handball and my father used to play basketball, so we were like kind of all in the sports, but mountaineering wasn't a profession, wasn't even a hobby for many people in Kosovo. And then after the war, of course, like I did my studies, and for many years, I mean, I've been just doing work. And then I started hiking, basically, I think for the reason to just, you know, be out in the mountain and try to heal the trauma that I had during the war.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe the mountaineering started basically because of all the traumas we had during the war.
And does that also a part of why now you're so committed at giving back to other women too? Like, do you feel like that's, you know what I mean? Is there like, are you trying to pay it forward in a way now?
Yeah, I mean, like, growing in a small country with conflicts and traveling around, everyone asking me, where is Kosovo? What is this country? So most of the people, they don't know.
Yeah.
So for me, like the mission of climbing the 14 and do all the work that I do it at home is basically to get more recognition for my country. And also because for me as a pioneer in mountaineering and as a female in growing in a small country, which basically most of the things are done by men's.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a mission to change the mentality at home, but then also help my country to get international recognition.
Yeah.
So,
Do you feel like you've succeeded at that?
yeah, I did.
That's great.
And I'm very, I mean, we talked a little bit about the humbleness before. I mean, for all these years, 10 years coming back on Himalayas, climbing the 14, and all the projects that I do at home, I think I have changed the mentality, especially when it comes to women's in a profession which are not so much connected to the females.
Yeah. Interesting. And do you think that that's sort of made you more humble? Has it made you happier as a person?
Of course, like when I see changes at home, it makes me feel really happy because that was like a mission for me. And I always tell people like being able to climb on 8,000 meters peak, you don't need only the physical strength, but you also need the mental strength, but then also you need a huge drive that will push you towards the big goals, because we don't climb for the good view.
Right.
I mean, like having bad weathers and like, I think also Everest is more well organized, so it's easier to go to the top. But then when we're talking about mountains like Kanchenjunga or
Sure.
Dhaulagiri or Makalu, when there are less people, you really need to have a strong drive on you to make you push the team, push the fixing, push yourself, do the fundraising. It's like, it's a huge project. So it needs a lots of strength.
Yeah. And I also know that, you and I talked a minute ago too, like during your 14 Peaks climb, you also lost a lot of good friends. You've seen the darker side of the mountains as well. Has that been difficult for you to process? Has that made you reconsider your relationship with the mountains? Like how have you dealt with it?
Yeah, it's a difficult topic because I was in many expeditions when this tragedies happen. So I don't think I still process it, because having like more than 20 expeditions here and having all these, emotions and relationships with people and losing people. So it's like, it's a big pocket here that I need to take it out.
Yeah.
So then I can heal myself.
Right.
And I don't know, like I think I'm gonna write one day a book about this, and then maybe I will be more in peace, because like there are so many things we talk with friends, we talk on interviews, but there are so many other things that I would never be able to talk.
Of course.
So I will need
course.
like time, because it's a lot to process, but then it's a lot to understand also your feelings. When do all this feeling comes from? And I normally like to put myself in the middle and just see all my actions from different angles. So it's a long process that needs more time personally for me.
Sure, of course.
I cannot just do Everest and then write a book.
Yeah. No, I
I
understand.
wouldn't. Like for me, it has to be something that has more meanings, not just how I climb with the rope, how was the route, but it's a lot of emotions involved on the whole thing.
Right. And that's a constantly evolving process, I can imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's a life.
And that's life. Yeah.
For me, like to complete the 14, it took me 8 years and a half, almost 9 years.
Yeah. And that was your complete obsession during that time.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it's nice to have a big goal in life.
Sure.
So for me, I had this big goal, but then at the same time, I did lots of other projects and I guided home. So it's not like it wasn't just this thing, but
Right.
then this project kept me, moving and doing things and having a goal and, training physically at home and do all the things. So because I had this big goal.
Yeah.
And when this finished last year, it was like, oh wow, what am I going to do now? Yeah. But I had so many things at home, but none of them felt like coming back in Nepal.
Yeah. So it must feel good to be back then.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It's always nice. Like I think for me, 2016 was the first time to visit Nepal and do the training in a rolling valley. So I always like when the March and April comes, I feel like now it's time to go back. It's like it's like every year thing.
Yeah.
And I have been here more than 20 times.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, it's a big part of all of our lives, and it's such a gift. Not just the place, but the community that it's given us and everything it's taught us.
Yeah. I mean, Sherpas are, I don't know, like for me, the first time I climbed, it was the Tendi Sherpa. He's from Nepal. It's another company.
Sure.
Yeah.
Little Tendi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was my teacher for everything. I have never thought of coming back and climbing 14, but like training, and then we did Everest and then Manaslu together. So he always he taught me everything on climbing, of course, like the technical part, but then also, all the love and information for the Sherpa community, which made me somehow, fall in love with this country and coming back all these years.
Oh, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, we have a ton of questions to answer.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can do. But I do want to like put a bit of a point on that of like, and this is relating to my own experience. Like when I first came here 28 years ago, like there's something about Nepal, and it's not the mountains, it's the people that these mountains have formed that keep us coming back year after year. So this is my plug to everybody watching. Go trekking in Nepal. Come meet some of these people yourself, and you'll see exactly what it is we're talking about. Okay, so we have lots of questions. Good morning, good evening, everybody. Good day. With only a handful of companies operating, is there a conflict of interest with them getting their large groups ahead of individual climbers or smaller groups that are also paying them? So first of all, there's not only a handful of companies. There's a handful of major big companies that you hear about a lot, but there are like, I don't know, 40 companies on Everest right now. I'm looking at Arnold, my fact checker. Yeah, Arnold's agreeing with me. And so, but in terms of like, when does the big expedition go? When does the small expedition go? Who controls the traffic? Who goes first? Who goes second? There aren't any rules for that. It's Everest, and you are still climbing Everest. Even if you have paid a big company or a small company to take you up, you are still climbing it. And your team has to make the decisions on when you go vis-a-vis all the other teams. And that's one of the real art forms. That's why there are people like Arnold or Tashidai or Little Tendi who are on the mountains acting as guides and operators to help you make that decision, because it's very difficult as an who are on the mountains acting as guides and operators to help you make that decision, because it's very difficult as an individual to figure that out. So that's my rant. What part of her climb was the most challenging? What part of your climb was the most challenging? You can answer that any way you want.
So the 8,000s are in Nepal, Pakistan, and Tibet, China. So I think Nepal, it's a little bit not easier, but like the companies here are much more professional, and they have been doing this for a long time. They know what they do. So plus the rescue is more possible. So I would say the climbs in Nepal are a little bit easier on the sense of organization. But then Pakistan, it's a little bit wild. So like, for example, for me, G1, Kasharburam 1 was quite difficult because I was climbing with Pakistani company, no oxygen and no fixing. So it was like more challenging because of the other conditions as well, not just because of me. And then the most challenging, I would say, me. And then the most challenging, I would say, maybe between Kanchenjunga and K2.
Yeah.
These are two mountains that are more technical. Kanchenjunga has the summit day, very long.
Yeah.
And it's also quite technical. Technical is when there is more ice and rocks and more steep. So
Yeah.
these are the more challenging. But then at the same time, I really enjoy it because, like when you put all your body in function, you don't fall asleep because for me, the only concern is not to fall asleep while I'm climbing up.
Yeah.
So these mountains gives you more adrenaline as well. So, but all of them depends on the weather. So all of them are challenging and difficult, but then also beautiful.
So just for some perspective, how long was your summit day on Kanchenjunga? How many hours?
I think it was maybe 26, 27 hours. So there have been like Gasherbrum too, I did in 33 hours.
33 hours on a push.
Yeah. But then also some of the climbs, I like to go directly base camp, like Dalagiri, Annapurna, Makalu, Lhotse. So Camp 4 Summit base camp. And
yeah, so you just do big
even
pushes.
If it's 30 hours, I don't mind. And at the end of all these 30 hours, you start to see hallucinations. So it's like, it's nice, like you're under some, visions, and it's beautiful. For me, I enjoy it when it's like 30 hours push rather than stop on the camps.
Yeah, right on. Hallucinations, friends. It's out there for you if you want it. Congratulations. Glad you made it to the summit and back safely and enjoyed your climb. We all hear about the turnaround time. Is it because you don't want to climb down when it's dark? How come it's okay to climb up in the dark but not down? Okay, so explain. So the idea of turnaround times are not so much about like the dark or the light, because when you're these groups are capable of operating in any condition. The turnaround time means if you haven't made it to the summit by a certain amount of time, you don't have enough energy to get back.
Yeah.
The turnaround time is not about necessarily light or dark. It's about the fact that you're going to die of exhaustion or something else before you get back to the safety of camp. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, totally. Besides that, also like the weather normally after 12, we normally we want to be at the summit before 12 because then the weather can turn bad, the winds and so on. So that's why you climb up in the night, you have more energy. And then when the sun comes, it's always like more energy because it feels like, oh, it's the next day.
Yeah.
So then coming down in the daylight.
You get that boost.
Yeah.
Totally. And if you remember, we talked a couple days ago about like convection, right? So how the way that the mountain weather works is, if you don't have like a storm system or the jet stream being plopped on the mountain, it's the heat of the day that generates mountain. It's the heat of the day that generates these afternoon winds, which can be really dangerous. So again, you want to be down in safety before then. All of that are factored into when these turnaround times happen. And there's, it's one of the things too with guiding. These are things we were talking today, just kind of with other operators and people here, is like, there is kind of a rule of thumb around how many hours should it take you to get to Camp 1 max? How many hours should it take to get you to Camp 2 max? And there are, most outfitters, and for you as a guide, if your clients take 18 hours to get to Camp 1, you need to have a conversation with that client about their safety when you head up. Unfortunately, sometimes clients don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And that's where people get into trouble in the mountains. But there's a lot of ways of indicating how your fitness is, how you're doing long before you're up and worried on the summit ridge.
That's what we actually did with my member. We did like a year of training, and we did like, not just the technical aspect, but also the physical part, runnings. And so I knew that he's going to be able to go up and have no issues.
Yep.
And luckily we no issues.
Yep.
And luckily, we didn't have to have that conversation of coming down.
On the mountain.
No.
Yeah. I talked to a few outfitters today and yesterday that kind of wished that they had that conversation more seriously with their clients.
For me, I like to talk, but then also I like to write it down and
Oh,
send
nice.
it on the email. Like this is this is the way how I work. That's how it's gonna happen. This is where my decision comes from. You know, like if I say that we need to go back, because I was also guiding in Aconcagua a few years ago, and I had to do this conversation in the mountain, which wasn't good because he wasn't listening. So
Right.
I want like now I have to do it before.
Do you find as a female guide, it seems like you have a lot of male clients. Is that difficult sometimes, that dynamic to be able to exercise your authority as a guide?
I didn't really experience that,
Yeah,
to
good.
tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because for me, first of all, I come from a family that females and males, we never talked about this.
Yeah.
And for me, to be on the position when I do take decisions, it comes from my experience. And I never really talk about, I don't even see it. Before maybe I did, but now I don't even consider it. So when I do the decision, I'm very sure that this is good. And then I just do it.
Good.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Okay, so congratulations. The Irish team, Adam, Pedrick, and Emma retreated last night from the balcony back to Camp 4 due to buried frozen ropes, and then they're now going for the summit again. We're also proud of them here in Ireland. Right on. I've heard of a number of teams that had that same issue early in the morning. Was from the winds and the snows, buried the rope. Sorry, it's hot in here, and turned around. Good luck for them on the next one. We are all fangirling over Bartek. The filming is incredible. I am also fangirling over Bartek. Maybe we'll start a fan club. Congratulations on a safe and successful summit. Congratulations to Uta for a safe and successful summit. Lots of congrats on your summit. What an incredible woman. Uta, if you write a book, where are we? We're looking at the screen. If you write a book, I'll definitely read it. So Uta also will put all of her information in the liner notes on this. But if you just Google Uta Ibrahimi, it starts with an I, you'll find her on Instagram, all her stuff. Super rad. Give her a follow. What an inspiring woman. Absolutely. Love and peace from Freiburg, Germany. Congratulations. Have you ever had to turn back?
So none of like I climbed 14, but not for the first time, all of them. So
Okay.
Dalagiri I tried 3 times, Kanchenjunga 2 times, Japagma 2 times. So I turned back only when everybody turned back. But if it was one person going up, I would be the second one. Like not because so much of wanting the summit, but like, you know, after many days spending rotations, going up and down, you really want to close this, you know, do the nice closure.
Yeah.
So I wanted so much to go on the summit, but for me, most important part is to be safe and to have all my fingers. And I've been coming back here many years, but like sometimes I have this from the cold, but normally my priority is to have to be safe, and also because I did lots of trainings and guiding school at home. So as much as you know about the mountains, you also worry more about the safety, and you put more effort on safety.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're glad you have all your fingers and I assume all your toes. Is there a certain amount of upper body strength required for some climbers that don't train or plan for? Is it harder for women because of that?
No, I don't think so. Like normally for me, my everyday training at home, I do like 12 to 15 kilometers running, trail running. Also I do ultra marathons, like long distance runs, but then also I train CrossFit, especially for the upper body.
Yeah.
No, like I have some special trainings for, pulling the rope and jumping on the rope. So like you need to have a little bit more strength on the upper body. Which you don't get it on the hiking or running. And especially on these climbs, you need a lot to pull yourself on a rope, which normally on everyday works, we don't normally do it. So that's why you need a little bit more special trainings.
Yeah.
But I believe like when we talk about women's and boys in the mountain, I think like the best and the most smartest expeditions were when there are more girls in the mountain,
Yeah.
because we don't work so much with the power. We work more with I think we put our brain more in the function.
Right.
You know, we make better decision, and actually the energy is a little bit better when
Sure.
there are more girls in the mountain. It's kind of a mix, which has changed a lot the last 10 years. 2017 on Everest, I met maybe 4 girls, and now I meet much more girls, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a thing where, like, I know for me, like my experience with climbing, I find that there is this priority given to upper body strength, but that's actually bad lower body technique.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that as well? Like ascending ropes, like if your footwork isn't good, you're dragging yourself. But if
Yeah.
you have good solid footwork,
Yeah.
it's actually
Yeah.
much better. So I feel like it's more core and lower body strength.
Yeah. It's a little, I mean, I would say it's a balance.
Yeah.
But for me, the best training is just to be out in the mountain.
The best training for climbing mountains is
Yeah.
climbing mountains.
Like normally at home, because I also work as a guide, but my guiding season is more in the summer. And then all winter, I am just every day doing a climb or a ski tour. So basically, the best training is just to be up in the mountain and,
Yeah.
you know, walk on snow, walk on whatever. If it's summer, do some runs. But then a little bit of upper body is also okay, like which you can even do it on whatever you want.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm getting a call. Oh, shit. Okay, we didn't lose you. Ah, I should have put it on silent mode. Sorry, everybody. Party foul. Okay, a couple last questions. Amazing. Congratulations, Uta. And the last one, this is such a mad question. But being a woman, do you still have normal periods when at high altitude? So random, I know, heart, but also congratulations. So
Thank
you can talk straight to
Yeah.
the screen about your menstrual
sure.
cycle.
So normally, like the periods are quite on time, like regular. But then for me, I always before the summit push, I think it's because of the, you know, like stress and more physical active. So they come back again.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I don't remember any of the summits without periods. So I think it's maybe a good luck as well.
Right
But
on.
I don't personally I don't have difficulties, so it's kind of a normal thing, just like any other day.
Right on. Uta, thank you.
Thank you as well. It was a pleasure.
It was really fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks everyone for tuning in, and everybody out there who's going to watch this after it goes live. Again, Uta Ibrahimi, check her out, follow her, sign up for her guiding services. And we're going to have some really exciting updates for everyone tomorrow. But for now, that's us signing off from Everest Base Camp. We'll talk to you soon.